Welcome back to another episode of The Money Mentor with Graham Home. And today's guest, very, very, very special guest, by demand, popular demand, frequent demand, who's very near and dear to Rebecca and I and to our hearts. Good morning, Kez.
Glad you said Kez and not Kerry. I thought I was in trouble before when you said Kerry.
Just before we started, I was like, hello, Carrie.
Yeah.
And you were like, what have I done?
What have I done wrong?
What haven't I done? What have I done? What's happening? So welcome.
Thanks.
Absolutely by popular demand, because you've been in our community for a couple of years now. I've done a couple of your podcasts.
You have, and very popular.
Little plug, Making Money Matter.
And by the way, just 2 days ago, I had yet another new comment.
Oh, really?
Yep. So people, they're still watching.
That's like a year ago. Wasn't it?
It's a year, too long.
Okay.
Come back.
There you go. We'll do it again.
Good.
So if you'd like to hear a bit of interaction between Kerry and I, you can definitely go check out Kerry's podcast, YouTube, Making Money Matter, aka The Gold Lady from the attire. But a lot of people in the community who've now heard you share your story, even on socials, are absolutely inspired and like, you and Kerry need to do a YouTube or a podcast and talk to us more. So here we are. Now, let's go back in time. Actually, let's talk about the Kerry story first. Let's get a little bit of context into who Kerry is,
Oh, goodness.
where she came from, and where she is today.
You know I don't like doing all that stuff, but...
Yeah, well, you're here now.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'm stuck. Born in Bangkok, Thailand.
That's very interesting.
Naval officer father.
We say Swadee Cup or Swadee Ka?
Sawadika.
Swadee Ka.
Sawadika. So my first language was Thai.
Really?
Yeah. First 2 years.
Still speak it?
No, I can hear when people are speaking Thai, but not sawadika,
Okay.
kumquats. No, I don't know. No idea.
So no.
That would be no. But yeah, my father was a naval attaché up there, but he was subsequently court-martialed in 1969. And as a family, it was a complete change.
Right.
So went from having everything to having pretty much nothing. But my parents were very beautiful parents, and they started again.
Okay.
And Mum got involved with property
Yep.
to help at that time.
Okay.
So I was aware of property at that time.
Okay.
Fast forward, went through school, cadetships, got engaged, got married. We moved to England in 1990.
Okay.
Came back to Australia in 2003. Bought a house. Didn't really know what I was doing.
Yep.
Single mum, beautiful boy,
Yep.
who's now all grown up and engaged. Scary.
Killing it too.
He's
Build
killing
an
it.
empire, big business.
Can I make mention?
Engaged.
Mutinex.
Yeah.
It's an absolute ripper.
There you go.
So yeah, engaged, happy days. But it was not easy at that time.
Yep.
Couldn't get work. I was either overqualified or underqualified.
Right.
And set up my own business running conferences for mining
Right.
when I had no clue. And this is what I often say to people: say yes and then figure out how.
True.
So I did that, and I'm still doing that, but now focusing just on gold and educating people about gold. So again, fast forward, it was 2020, start of COVID, found you on social media, got on a Zoom call, and you very kindly coached me and said, this is what I've got, because I thought I was really clever. You said, this is what you should do. I said, thanks very much. Signed up, joined up, paid the money.
Yep.
Did nothing.
I remember because we had a Zoom meeting and went,
Well, I didn't know.
lady's in a pretty strong financial position to give context to listeners at home.
Yeah.
9 proproperties
At that time, yeah.
Yep, 9 properties and asked for live coaching. So we did live coaching. I'm doing so well and did the live coaching. And you then signed up to get some ongoing advice and some guidance. Had a Zoom meeting, went through it all. Told you what you should do. And, okay. And I went, cool. And we never spoke again for...
I know. It was kind of like, I reckon it was me saying, well, they'll contact me. But no, you got to...
We don't... My wife taught me this with me when we first were dating. She said, I don't chase, I replace. And I'm like,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
I don't chase, I replace. I like that.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, you give somebody the information.
Yep.
You explain what's required to execute.
Yep.
And if they say, okay, well, let me process that, it's up to them to decide to want to execute.
Yeah.
I don't like to be a salesperson.
No.
So a
I do know that
salesperson will follow up.
Right.
And now even an advisor, but I've provided the advice. It's up to you to come back and say, let's execute, or I have more questions.
Yep.
Outside of that, people procrastinate for whatever reason and they're not ready.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was to follow up and force you into any of that and follow up and be a pest like a used car salesman, now I'm starting to sell instead of letting you organically believe in receiving the advice and executing it. That's my ethos.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it works. Eventually you came back because no matter what else is going on in the world, you're now like, well, hang on, I think I'm ready to go back and execute what I was told I could achieve.
I actually think it was, well, first of all, I moved to the goal. There was just a series of things. You know, when you get, someone's bashing you in the head saying you need to do this, and it was just a series of events which ended up with you and I connecting in person.
Yep.
Now, call it serendipity or whatever you want to call it, but it happened and I went, okay.
Oh, okay.
Now I need to do something.
So we'll go back then. So 2020, Zoom Masterclass, COVID, living in Sydney, 9 properties, doing phenomenally well, raised a beautiful young man into a successful businessman, single mother. Everything's going pretty well. Running that gold lady, running your Australian Gold Conference, running Making Money Matter, your YouTube channel, where you interview some of the biggest executives of ASX listed entities and mining and gold and so forth. So very, very successful in your own rights, firstly.
Thank you.
No, but you've done bloody well. I'm super proud of you. And then to do the masterclass, and then to be coached, and then to go, cool, yep, and sign up. I want to do that. I want to execute. I want to go further and be more tailored and bespoke. To then have that conversation, to then go, okay, cool, yeah, okay. And then do nothing for maybe 18 months, 12 months, 18 months?
I think, just over 12 months.
Okay. And then for whatever reason, very serendipitous, as you said, came from Sydney to the Gold Coast during COVID, borders, all that sort of nonsense. And I think at the time we had a 75 hard walking group. So once or twice a week, we were all getting together and walking along the beach on the Gold Coast for any locals. And that's where you popped up again. And what happened?
Well, I saw the walking group was happening. This is actually quite funny. I was sitting at home. I went, well, first of all, I love walking. I came to the Gold Coast. I've got so much healthier being up here. I love the
How much
Gold.
weight have you lost?
As of today,
Yeah.
I got pretty excited this morning. 26 kilos.
Well done. 26 kilos.
26.
How do you feel?
Feel great.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm
And
addicted.
you walk everywhere. I remember recently we had an event at the Gold Coast. I'm like, oh, I'll pick you up or I'll drop you home. I'm coming past because you're in Main Beach there.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I'll walk. I'm like, but you'll sweat and it's hot and it's so. And then you're like, that's the point. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going in my air conditioned car. 26 kilos.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
wild.
I know, it's wild.
And has that been drastic change on your health or incremental change or just consistency?
It's been a period of 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been definitely consistency.
Okay.
I go to the gym every day.
Yep.
And a complete overhaul of my eating habits.
Right.
Gee, deciding to get my head together,
Yep.
I would have breakfast, 4 Weet Bix,
Yep.
add the full cream milk,
Yep.
add extra cream
Yep.
because it wasn't creamy enough,
Yep.
put lots of white sugar on top,
Yep.
and
Sounds like a treat. Keep going.
Oh,
Keep going.
delicious. So I would have that, but then I'd be hungry by mid-morning, so I'd have a bar of chocolate.
Big big sugar hit.
Another sugar
Yeah,
hit,
yeah.
another sugar hit, another sugar hit. And then I'd have a sandwich for lunch, then I'd have afternoon tea, then I'd have a big dinner.
Right.
Fast forward this morning, I've had one hard-boiled egg.
Right.
That's it.
Okay.
And then I'll have another meal sort of mid-afternoon.
So not feeding hunger, fueling body.
That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not feeding hunger, fueling the. I love that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna write that on my whiteboard.
Not feeding hunger. Really, I bought, and not for me to talk. I'm no expert, but I know my weight loss journey at the moment is down a lot.
Because you look great.
It's not yet, but I'm getting there. It's
No,
a
you
journey,
are.
right?
Yeah.
But it's that process of understanding it's like a vehicle. We only need enough fuel to get from A to B.
Correct.
And everything else is excess fuel that can go rotten in the tank.
Yeah, and sugar is so bad, and it's in everything. Sugar's in Weet Bix. I didn't have to add the milk, which is sugar, and cream, which is sugar.
Anyway,
it did taste good.
that
Anyway, we can go right down.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so
So-
that has changed
Okay,
enormously.
so yeah, okay.
But going back to what you said, which was, what did I do? This was going back to the walking. I thought, walking group. I'm into walking because that was the start of the weight loss journey. And just before I left, I went, that's right. This is infinity. I'll write down each of my properties. So I wrote down the address, the mortgage, the rent. on a really scrappy bit of paper, which I then folded up into about
10 times.
16 pieces.
It was like one of those things that's...
Yeah,
you
like
know,
a origami. And I squished it up and I put it in my pocket.
Yeah.
And then we're walking, and I was having a beautiful chat with Beck. And we got on well, and then right at the end, we're all standing around, and I saw you, and I thought, right, it's now or never. So I walked up, and I said, hi, can you have a look at this? And you said, what is it? I said, oh, that's my property portfolio. And you went, oh, all right. And we didn't know each other well.
Yeah.
And you were a little bit standoffish.
Yeah.
And you opened it up. Can I swear?
Yeah, of course you can. It's my podcast. Of course you can.
Okay. And you opened this up and you said, oh, fuck, I can't unsee this. So I thought, yeah, I'm pretty good, aren't I? So I was like patting myself, being a bit peacocky, and went, yeah, it's good, isn't it? And you went, no, it's a clusterfuck. And I went, what? How can you say that? Why would you like, and you said, well, this particular one has this issue.
I was going to say this was interesting because I'm wondering, and I've never asked what was going through your brain, because I looked at the 9 properties,
Yep.
I looked at the yields, I looked at the values versus the debts,
Yeah.
and I actually, and these were Australia-wide, I knew where every single property
You
was.
did.
And you were a bit
know.
taken aback.
100%.
And I'm talking about far north Queensland
Yeah,
and Brisbane. And
insane.
like, you name it, and I'm like, well, this is this and this, and you were probably sold this by a property spruiker who sold you on this particular thing or
Yep.
this info. And I could tell you not only where the properties were, why they thought they had or were underperforming, and why you probably bought there in the sales pitch you were given to buy there. And you, I don't know, tell me what you were thinking at that point, because I'm doing this off this piece of paper. What were you then
well,
thinking?
you didn't have a computer in front of you,
Yeah.
and I was just like, he's like a savant. Where does he? How does he know all this shit? It was just. I just stood there going, righto.
Well, you definitely couldn't have faked it, because I didn't have the
You
piece of
didn't
paper.
have
I
it.
didn't,
You
yeah.
didn't have anything
was
in
like
advance.
A 30-second read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you said, we need to sort this out.
We need to chat.
Yeah,
We need to
we
talk.
we need to talk.
Kerry.
Yeah, it was. We need to talk, Carrie. And then, yeah, and I went, righto, time to tie that. And I came into your office and you did a little whiteboard mud map.
Big multiple whiteboards.
Multiple
the whole wall.
whiteboards. Yeah, it was the whole wall. And then you told me to sell 7 of the 9.
Yeah.
And I just for a moment thought to myself, what the fuck? Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Because I was taught, going back to Mum, she would only sell because after Dad's court martial, it was tough on them. There wasn't a lot of money. So they would sell a property when they needed money.
Only. Like dire straits.
When they started, they were buying, and then,
Yeah.
when they were retired
Yeah.
and they needed stuff, that's when she would sell. So she would buy, never sell until they needed the cash.
I'll never sell.
I'll never sell. So that was what I was taught. So that's what I was doing. And you told me to sell 7. And so I had a moment where I went, well, why would I do that? And then the little cheeky Charlie came back into the head and said, don't waste his time. You're either going to take the advice of somebody who, by the way, is a savant and knew exactly what you had before. So why don't you just take the advice? So it was it wouldn't have been more than a 20-second moment.
Right.
And that's when I said, right, fine, I'll do it.
Okay. And there's a long journey in there, by the way, of actually researching and
Sure.
listing and selling and picking out. But
Yeah.
there is that moment where you're like, okay, hang on a minute. Well, clearly understands. But we then had to go on a journey. Now, why do you, because we had an event recently with 500 people in the room.
was
live, and they're
amazing.
it's
Extraordinary.
so cool. And a lot of people in the weekend you shared again, and we had, I think, 550 plus partners, 1,100 people online the last 2 days. And a lot of the questions you keep getting is from the same thing. Why would you sell 7 properties? Why would he tell you to do that? Why would you do that? So why did we sell 7 properties? Why would you not go, I've got 9 properties?
I just did as I was told.
Okay.
And I think that's important. If you're going to go and take the advice of someone like Infinity and yourself, why would you turn around and say, thanks for the advice, I'm going to do it my own way? Well, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time.
Well, let's go back a step to give people
Okay.
listening in that aren't part of our community that love learning from these sessions. Do you know how many properties we have today in your portfolio for you?
Can I say no?
You can. Can you take a guess?
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. between 16 and 20, I think,
Okay.
because we got rid of a couple.
Yeah, we got up to like 23.
Yeah, we got up to
25.
20. We got up to
We
24.
got back down under 20 now.
Yep.
So, and we're buying and selling and
Yeah.
buying and selling and
Yeah.
holding.
Yeah.
And there's a particular strategy, but just to give context, the reason that we suggested Kerry liquidate or to sell 7 was, one is a principal place of residence with no CGT.
Mm-hmm.
The other one wasn't a bad property. And the other 7 were dogs. Like, sell that dog. It's got to go.
Yeah.
But it was to sell 7 at that point because I showed you that if we sold 7, we could get to 21.
Correct.
And you know it's better than 1?
21.
21.
Yep.
So for people listening at home, that equity and cash are not the same thing. And no matter how,
Yeah.
eventually everybody hits a borrowing capacity
Yep.
ceiling. Their serviceability says no more. Computer says no with a bank.
Mm.
So, and also, if we don't mind sharing, Kerry, when we started this journey, how many years young were you, or how many years young are you today?
When we started and I did nothing, 59.
Mm.
When we started and I started properly, 60.
Okay.
And today, 64. Out and proud.
But you look 24, by the way.
But here's the thing. People focus on their age. And I know when I quite often get on your masterclasses,
Yep.
so many people go, I think there was one last weekend. Am I too old at 40? I just
They're
laughed.
younger than me. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, isn't
So
it bizarre?
it's just, I often say, and I think people's fear, and it's fear.
Yeah.
And I think quite often it's, I can't start because I'll never get finance.
Well,
I'm still getting finance.
I think it's also that it's too good to be true.
There's that.
I can't be that person.
Yeah.
I mean, you did it coming back from the UK with almost nothing as a single mother of a 10, 11-year-old young man and did it all from scratch. So going back, we sold 7 because we knew that if we sold 7, reduced the debts, held 2 and had some cash from the sales, got a 50% CGT discount, so half of the profits were tax-free, and then we redeployed that, we could get up to the 21 odd. We then did that, then also sold some of those in the first few years that have made money. But we also sold some, so just so everyone listening at home, we had 9, we dropped to 7, we went up into the 20.
No, we had 9.
We had 9, we dropped to 2. Sorry. 9, we dropped, lucky I do numbers for a living. We had 9, we sold 7 and dropped to 2.
Yep.
We then went back up to 21. We're now back in the late teens, sort of floating, buying, selling,
Yeah, we're
buying,
floating.
selling.
Yeah.
And there's a plan, we'll get to that. But we also sold some at a loss. Some of the properties you had that I was really, really concerned about. For example, we had one that was pretty old, and then when we went to sell it, the people went to buy it, and I'm like, that's got to go, Kaz. It's a bad area. They had undermining there. They had this, they had that. And you were like, okay. And then when it sold, you were like, that needs underpinning. It's like, it's a disaster.
Like $100,000 worth of.
$100,000 of underpinning, construction, repairs, maintenance. Eventually it sold. People went, oh, that's fine. I'll take it as is.
Yep.
So
But I didn't make, and I'd had that for 13 years, I think. And I hadn't really, I was just getting the money back from that.
Yeah. And then we had another one that we sold at a loss.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Big loss.
Yeah.
But what you said to me at the time was you said, it's the opportunity cost.
Yeah.
Because you can hold, how much longer are you going to hold on to that to say, I don't want to take the loss?
And
So
I
bit the bullet.
think going through it as well, you know, if you do have a capital loss and you know that we've got a capital gain because we've done something positive over here, it's important to get that accounting advice of carrying that capital loss until you have that capital gain and at least having that net effect, because you could have held that asset losing money forever and no prospects of regaining any time in the future.
Yeah.
Whereas over here, by selling that and going over here and creating a new opportunity that made money,
Correct.
it's continuing to, well, we've netted out the loss
Yeah.
and we're continuing to make it, or we were just stuck with a loss.
And I didn't know any of that before.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I was just holding on.
Offset by the gap. You just thought you had to hold and try not to lose.
Correct. Yeah, and wait until at least it had something. And I was just looking at how I could get to number 10.
Right.
And I was thinking about this over the weekend and listening to what you're doing, because the other thing is you can't take all the information in over one weekend. I'm still learning, and I love it.
How many events do you think you've done in the last couple of years with me?
Oh, God.
1 a month, 2 a month?
Yeah, I reckon
Most
it's about
months?
most months.
So let's say you miss something once or twice a year, maybe 2 a month, 20 a year.
I reckon it's 20 a year.
So maybe 40, 50 events in the last
Weekends.
year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. Well,
What do people,
because you've changed my life so much. If I can help other people not do what I did, like, I'll just wait for a year. Like, do as you're told and get on with it.
Okay.
So if I can give back by showing them, and look, I've had people say, it's okay if you had 9 properties. Well, again, that's just a mindset. It's people can do.
Well, that's no different to first home by saying I can never enter the market and I'm a single parent, as you were. But you can buy with a 2% deposit as a first home deposit scheme for a single parent, or 5% for first home buyer. But you would have maybe had to live with friends or family and make your own clothes and not eat out. Something's changed in society. Like, people want to eat out, buy fancy clothes, have iPhones, iPads, have fancy cars, and then go, I can't get a fucking house.
Correct.
Well,
so true.
My grandparents made all my clothes for me, or they came from the Salvation Army and St. Vincent's de Paul.
Yeah.
And people go, I don't have to do that. Well, you got to give at some point to
delayed gratification, guys.
Yeah.
Delayed gratification, because I agree with you, and I say this to a few people. Do you even know where your money's going? Like, they use the tap, tap, tap. I use cash still. I have a budget. I use cash.
Gold's too heavy to carry to the counter.
Yeah, it's a bit heavy. But also, no, I resent paying 7 cents extra on my hot chocolate in the morning.
Yeah.
So, if it's $5.
And that's what people are like, no, I use my credit card and it's interest free and I paid in full. You fucking pay like 1.25% or 7 cents or 50 cents. You're paying to use your it's the bank's money. Yeah, but you're paying a fee each time you tap, dickhead. Anyway,
But people just don't. They're just not thinking. And that's what I love about Infinity. You get people to think. This is a holistic approach to everything we do. And that's one of the things that I hope I get across to people, G, is this is not just, we're here to sell you some property. You do stuff for people which makes them better human beings.
Yeah, well, we also start with the shittest sales pitch in the world.
Yeah.
Hey, let's create a budget and pay debt down really quick. I don't think anyone except for Rebecca and I ever thought that was sexy, ever, ever, ever. It's a bit,
I think it's really sexy.
Compared to the I'm going to make you millions of dollars in stock market this and property and crypto that and the other. We're kind of like, hey, let's first pay down your debt. That's pretty risk free. Yeah, let's get you on track to smash your debt. You already picked your house. There's no risk. Okay, now we've proven you can pay your debt off so fast, unlike a lot of beliefs. Now we can look at the equity and the leverage you can create once you know the first thing's possible. Because then your mind starts.
Mind changes.
It does. It's all mindset.
Yeah. It's all mindset, so mindset.
So, again, appreciate you being here today, because so many people have come to me like, oh my gosh, I spoke to Kerry at an event, or she was on a free webinar. They're like, I signed up because if Kerry can do it, I can do it.
Oh, I love that.
And on the weekend, someone was following Casey and Lenny, and they're like, I follow your Instagram meals because I heard you on the podcast, like we're doing today, and now I'm meal prepping, and now I'm doing this, and we've lost it's just wild. But when you see or hear someone who you believe is doing it, that you go, well, shit, I can do it if they can do it. That's it. That's that one moment.
That's the switch.
The moment. So thank you for constantly attending and sharing and telling people what you've been able to do. But
it's my honour.
Let's get into it a little bit more, because you get a lot of people tell you you've joined a cult.
Yep.
And you get a lot of people tell you that you're
so
too old.
I'm a bit worried about this going out on the podcast, because I'm certain some friends of mine will see it and go, what the hell? Because, the challenge is when you start doing things which is out of their comfort zone, they want to bring you back into their comfort zone. And I love my friends, but I'm doing what I'm doing, and eventually someone's going to say, because I've had people say, don't buy off the plan, don't use a third party, don't do this, don't do that, don't do the other.
Always the don'ts, yeah.
And so I just go, okay. So when they say things, I'm like, all good.
Yeah.
Because when I started my journey with Infinity, I was pretty excited, and I started telling people. And so then they start telling you things, and then it gets in your head. And I've heard you say this before. If it gets in your head, you're dead.
Yeah, if you're in your head,
your head, you're dead.
You're done. Stop.
Yep.
It's over.
So I stopped communicating too much to other people because their opinion is none of my business.
Does that apply to you eating better, exercising more, money? Does it apply politics? Really? Do you find that applies to everything in life, or just to money?
Mainly money.
Mainly money. People have got this thing about they've all got an opinion and.
Well, here's the thing. In Australia,
Yep.
like if you compare Australia to the US, in the US, they lift people up and they want you to do well.
True.
In Australia, we have this tall poppy syndrome, and it pisses me off because they don't get out of your, that's your lane. Don't get out of your lane. Don't be successful.
And if you grow a little bit taller, got to cut you back down.
I'm going to slap you back down.
Bring you back here. Okay.
Yeah.
So people do think you've joined a cult, and I even see comments on a couple of little videos, interviews we've done on you've shared with other people at events. People like, that's just fucking stupid. Why would you want 15, 18, 20 properties in your 60s?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking go and live your life. I'm like, lost 26 kilos, walks to and from the gym, resides in between Sydney and the Gold Coast, between two Like, I don't know about these people on social media that are eating 2-minute noodles, living in mum and dad's garage or trolling.
And they can be so cruel without context.
It's just a reflection on them. Like, my natural response is, who hurt you, bro? Want to cuddle?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, here's a therapy voucher.
Yeah.
Like, anyone who's fucking shitting on something a scam, rot, why would you do that at that age? Well, why are you doing fucking nothing at your age?
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you deal with that? Because you share a lot. You've obviously listened on one of my events. You've heard someone, I don't know, a Craig, a Kim, a Steve. Do you remember me? Who did you ever remember anyone you heard share and went, well, if they can do it, I can do it? Do you ever remember? Was it a Craig and Kim or a Megan and Jeremy or Steve and Sue-Ann or can't remember?
No, to be honest.
It's all right.
I can't.
It's interesting because a lot of you're not influencing, but you're helping a lot of people see a light.
Yeah, I
at the
had
end
someone
of the tunnel
say that to me. Yeah,
that isn't a choo choo. Yeah. So we need a little train in the edit here, right? But you are helping people see a light because you're going, well, hang on. Kerry was a single mum. I'm a single mum, so no excuse, right?
Yep.
Kerry had to run her own business, no income, big income, no income, expenses, roof over their head, education for an amazing. He built a phenomenal business, so it's not like you had a silver platter, right? And if it was, it would have been gold, not silver anyway.
Correct.
True. But you've done it tough and you've hustled and worked your way through. So people are listening like, well, shit, if Kez can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
So you're inspiring people. But how do you cope when you read some of those comments? I know I remember watching on one of the YouTubes we did for yours, someone's like, oh, the way this guy... So there could be 20 good comments and there's always one.
Yep.
Oh, this is disgusting. How do you process that sort of stuff when you're genuinely giving stuff for free, trying to help people, trying to share? How do you process the trolls? Because America is very different, you're right. Australia, fucking everyone's fucked. Everything's fucked.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that?
Well,
If I go into bat on some of the comments, fuck you, Kez is this, Kez. I'll go to
I've
war
seen.
for you.
I know.
I'm not blocking and deleting. I'm going to war. You know
That's
what I mean?
what I love about you.
How do you handle that?
I remember the first horrible comment I got, and it was way back when I was doing my first video interviews with a company called Small Caps.
Yep.
And there was this hideously horrible comment. And I went into a deep, dark hole, and I rang Philip Carinya, who runs Small Caps, and I said, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
Like, this is just, it's a horrible comment, and it really hurt me deeply. And he said to me, Kez, there's 1,000 people that viewed that video, and only one bad comment. He said, and he's probably an idiot, so don't worry about it. And I think that was my first one of, I don't care.
Yeah.
I really, and it's what you said before, G, which is the hurt people.
Yeah.
And I think that people that make those disparaging, nasty comments, they've got their own pain.
Yeah.
And so
it's a reflection of them, not you.
You've got to love on them.
Yeah.
It's like when people say on my channel, they'll turn around and say, what do you mean you're running out of time? You've got all the time in the world. You're an idiot. I'm like, thanks for that. And I'll go back and I'll say, hey, sorry that upset you so much. Tell me how I can make it better. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Because, as you would say, you do you, boo.
You do you, boo.
See ya. I'm happy with that.
I like it. So these days it's water off a duck's back.
It is, yeah, because you've got to, and that's the thing with most people. If people start to really what's the word? Comment negatively, no matter what you're doing. The reason most people won't get out of their lane is because they don't want to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's better to be fucking broke, angry, shit,
Yeah.
hurt other people
Yeah.
than it is to go through a bit more pain to have any sort of growth or gain.
And the only way to get growth is to get slightly uncomfortable.
Oh,
and
it's
if
gonna
that
hurt.
means nasty comments, so be it.
Yeah, okay. And how do you go then when your friends at the beginning are like, you're listening to this fucking idiot in a hat and a t-shirt, like doesn't dress professionally, swears like a sailor,
That's what I love about you.
got a massive fucking ego apparently. He's not a teddy bear, he's got a massive ego. As if you'd take advice from him.
Well, that's what I said right at the beginning. I wasn't doing it the right way. You've changed, like you clearly are success, and you share what your success is with other people. So
Yeah, did you enjoy the other? We got to about 60 something million.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
the
yeah,
new one.
that was good.
And then
I was like,
I got the shits because Beck, I got over, goes, we just did this for 9 and this, and we spent 14, 15 mil this week. And I'm like, has it exchanged? She's like, no, Nick. And I'm like, fuck, should have added it in. That was the ego kicking in, right?
we've
But
all
I mean,
got,
there's not
we've
many.
all got ego.
Everyone's got, we've got trusts and I own this and I own, like showing people exact addresses, exact transactions, or I think it's just honest. Like it's out there. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of so-called advisors are the opposite. They're in the suit, the tie, they present very well to
Standing
you.
in front of a Lamborghini.
Yeah. But what are they actually delivering to the customer, to the person, for free or paid?
Well, I've experienced that, as you know, when you were selling some of my properties. I experienced bad advice, and I've experienced people that they look schmick, but they don't tell the truth.
Yeah, okay.
And I think one of the things about you is you tell people sometimes what they don't want to hear, but that they do need to hear.
So how does somebody as successful and smart get to 9 properties, run their own business? How do you, as a human, for somebody listening in, and it does, I say, if not me, somebody, I'm doing it right, I don't care, this is fun now, it's not work. How do you, if someone at home, even just pretend they don't like me, but they like Kerry, and they're looking for new guidance and advice, how does Kerry, who's very smart, distinguish fact from, like, real from bullshit? How do you do that with your life experience and the wealth and your successes? How have you always, I mean, is it just your gut? Is it the math? Is it the human? How have you been able to...
It's a bit of everything,
Yeah.
really. But, trust your gut is a big one.
Yep.
A lot of people, your gut will tell you whether something's real or not real. But I think I've never been that good at math.
Okay.
So I've got an accountant
Yeah.
who I have to call up every now and again and say, just explain that to me. And, I'll see the big picture. I'm like one of these people that's like, I know what I want, but can I have the team around me to get me there? But what was the question again?
Just how do you gauge if you should work with someone, trust someone, or take their advice?
Trust is really, I think trust is one of the big things.
Yeah, so before, and trust is earned. So even business, right? So how do you know in your business dealing that person is who they say they are? Or how do you know that person is going to do what they say they will do? Like, how, because Dum Dum. So how do you, and I know part of this answer. I'm gonna hint to this because I remember I did a tour with David Goggins.
Oh, yes.
A year or two ago, maybe 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
And when I was doing that at one of them, I think it was Brizzy, and you sat with Beck in the audience.
I did.
Right?
Yeah.
And you and Beck were sitting right up the front there, and you had your laptop out and you're writing away. I'll never forget because Beck said to me later on in the house, she said, "Oh, we need to catch up with Kez." And I said, "Why?" She goes, "Because she's always taking notes and this and that." And I happened to look down at one point, and I read her notes, which told me that she was relearning and reframing what she thought she needed to know about offsets and this and that.
Of course, yeah.
And so I remember, oh, okay. Well, she said, I only read this and that. And we were able to then meet again, and I was able to put a bow on top of things that you thought you knew that had maybe started to move.
Yeah, okay.
So I know for one of the things for you and your success is your constant willingness to learn.
100%.
And your constant willingness to not go, okay, I've heard him say this before. I'm going to sit here and go, oh, isn't that good? Oh, geez, that was a bit uncouth. Oh, that was funny. Oh, I like that. You're actually a continuous student.
Sponge,
yeah. Is that something that's natural to you?
Yeah.
Or okay.
I love learning.
Okay.
while other people are watching TikTok videos and Married at First Sight.
Yeah.
Or as I went, probably shouldn't say this, but I went and saw the movie Bridget Jones's Diary,
Yeah.
the new one.
Oh, is it out, is it?
Don't bother.
Okay. I was going to say, I think I've seen that when I was a kid.
No, there's a new one.
Okay.
But I would normally want to go and learn something more. So the book I'm reading at the moment is all about Anne Summers, who is a journalist, and she's really smart, and how she got to where she is. Because I think part of this journey of life, which, I work in mining, if you talk geology, we're here for, in my opinion, literally a nanobite. We're here for a moment in time. And most people will waste that, whereas I'm 64 and I'm still learning and I'm soaking it up and I'm dying at 93 in my penthouse with my toy boys around and a glass of champagne, because that's, I know exactly where I'm going, whereas most people are literally treading water through life and wondering why they're not getting anywhere.
True.
I know exactly where I'm going, and I have the vision of where I'm going, and I will be eternally grateful for having you and Beck and the Infinity family in my life. Why? Because I'm not going to get too emotional here, but you have absolutely changed my life, and the vision and the dream that I had of where I wanted to go, I can now see as an absolute reality. And it would not have happened. I absolutely guaranteed it would not have happened.
That means a lot, but I want to skim over it.
No, I don't want to skim over it.
Well, I want to
because
skim
it's
over it because
important.
there's a really good point here.
And what's that?
You said you're 64.
Yeah.
You said you're here till 93
Yeah.
in your penthouse.
94. Shit, it's only 29 years. I thought it was 30.
Yeah, well, we can change it to 94. It's around 30 years.
Yeah, okay, let's just say 30. Yeah.
Okay, 30 years.
Yep.
So we've got another 30 years.
Yep.
You mentioned your penthouse with a glass of wine in your hand surrounded by your toy... Champagne, sorry. Mm-hmm. Glass of good champagne surrounded by your toy boys. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I don't want to be looking after some old bloke that's in nappies.
Hey, I'll make sure I'm there to pay the bill and make sure I get rid of them all and kick them out of the penthouse.
Thank you very much.
So the dream is to enjoy your retirement in a penthouse.
I'm never going to fully retire.
Okay.
Because I always want to give back. So whether I'm still working like a crazy person doing the gold conferences and teaching people, I have a little business as well where I coach people. Mm-hmm. So I'm a coach as well. So I have all these little different things that I'm doing. At some point, simplify it a little bit, but I will always do something, whether that's giving back.
So you're going to stay active no matter what?
100%.
The next 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay, but the dream is to stay active and live in a beautiful penthouse.
Correct.
Okay.
With a place in Sydney.
Okay.
Let's go between
Sydney
the two.
and Gold Coast?
Absolutely. I love the Gold Coast.
Okay, and you've already got the Sydney property.
And I got the Gold Coast property.
And do you have the Gold Coast penthouse?
Mm-hmm.
When's that happen?
Look at this smile.
Oh, that's why I'm asking. That's why I skipped over all that lovey-dovey, I love you and Beck. I'm like, I know I love you too, but what's happening? Have we got the penthouse?
Yeah.
We do?
Yeah.
Is it nice?
I haven't walked into it yet. It's being built.
No, it's nearly finished. Soon.
But you were the one that said, because I remember I had a lot of property, and it wasn't that long ago that we caught up. We were going through things, and I was like, yeah, mm-hmm. And I think my relationship manager was in the room at the time, Taryn. I'm pretty sure she was in there. Mm. And I was like, yeah, well, we've got this and we've got that. And you looked at me and you said, if I said you could get the penthouse at Lagoon, would that be of interest? Mm. And my whole body changed. My whole demeanour changed. It was just like, what? Are you kidding me? And you went, yep, we can make it happen. Now, that goes back to the trust thing. Mm. Right at the beginning, I probably would have said, yeah, right, in your dreams. But now I have complete trust. And I know that if you say we can make it work, it can make it work. I can't tell you. I've already visualised myself walking up the stairs. I've already seen me, where are you, G and Beck?
I was going to say, you got really good neighbours because we bought the penthouse next door. So,
I can't tell you how... And look, a lot of people will say, what a wank. Mm. Well, for me, it's not about a wank. It's in Main Beach. I've actually moved so many times. Mm. my last home, like true home that I lived in, was a place in Sydney, and I bought it. I had it for 2 years, and I sold it before I met you. If I'd met you before that, I would have had a completely different strategy. But anyway,
Yep.
I sold that one. But I haven't really had a home since Henry was a little boy. So
You've moved and worked. And
I've just moved and bounced around. So for me, the penthouse at Lagoon is my home.
Penultimate.
Yeah. And it's going to be the place where I can
Settle. Okay.
Yeah. And that's what's really...
Make sure the parties aren't too wild. I don't want to be throwing toy boys down the lift, you know.
Yeah, well, you can throw them over the balcony.
Yeah, well, it's a bit hot. So that's early next year. So we've got a bit of work to do now
Yeah,
because
we
the
do.
portfolio we've helped you build,
Yep.
we're now going to help you liquidate.
Yep.
And that's going to fund the dream.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Feels really good. Feels really... Like, part of me wants to say, can't we have the penthouse and keep everything? And no, it doesn't work like that.
Everyone's got a capacity.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it. I get it. And it's... If you remember back to when we first met, I actually said, this is what I want. So we re-engineered, like, and I know how your brain works. And I suspect you already went, okay, well, because if you remember, there was a time when you said to me, hey, Kez, I've got 4 properties for you. And I went, big intake of breath.
Yep.
And then again, the brain went, if he's telling you to do
I know,
it.
I rang you from Carbo. I was in
Oh,
the pool
you
in
did?
Carbo. I'm like, hey, I just had to call you. You said you wanted this. You wanted this, and this that's right there now. And I'm doing it, and I've got 4 for you right now. And you're like, ugh.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly
I'm
what
like,
happened.
And you're like, are you overseas? I'm like, yeah, I'm in the pool in Carbo. And you're like, oh, okay, but you're on my mind. Because I
Love it.
was doing something, and I was like, hang on a minute. That's perfect for Kerry.
Amazing.
So,
And I remember thinking,
and you freaked the fuck out.
oh, yeah. Like, you know, it's like when the guy comes in to fix the plumbing in your house and he gives you the quote and you go, he does the, well, that's what I did. I had a big intake of breath and then I went, shut up, do it. So I just went, best thing I could have ever done.
Yep.
And again, that comes back to kind of like do as you're told.
Yeah.
If these guys say that this is what you need to do to get to where you need to go, then why wouldn't you do it?
It's a pretty cool story considering in the last couple of years from where we started to where we're going to end up.
I know.
Pretty outrageous.
I think we should do a podcast in the penthouse.
We will.
Penthouse podcast.
We will. Both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
P1 to P2 to P1 to P2.
Yeah.
So, all right. For those people at home tuning in, they're not clients, they're trying to get ahead right now. They could be saying, I'm too young, I'm too old, however they relate to you or they're listening to this. What would you say to that? I'm too young or I'm too old? The age issue.
It's a mindset. I think most of the time, as I said before, people go through life without really knowing what they want. I mean, if you're going to aim at, how can you even get to a destination if you don't know where you're aiming?
True.
So a lot of people use the, I'm going to be financially free, and I know how much you love that statement. Or they say, I want to get, I've seen it, I want to have 50 properties. But why? Like, what's the end game? What do you want? Because I also want to get to a point where I've got some passive income where I can do, I know what the stuff that you do, giving back to others that have nothing.
Yeah.
Because I think that that's part of being a good human, apart from putting your trolley back.
Yes. Rule number 1.
Rule number 1, put your trolley back.
Yeah.
But I think in giving back to others, that's really important. So for me, when you talk retirement, I'll always be doing something, and part of that will be, how can I give back to others that are doing it tough? But to say to other people out there that don't really know, you can do, have, be whatever you want. You just have to believe in yourself.
So it doesn't matter, young, old, middle-aged, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
If you feel old, get a younger toy boy.
Well, if you feel old, move. And again, if you feel old, a lot of the time it's in your head, unless you've got health issues.
Yeah.
Like, there's a beautiful girl I went to school with who's in an aged care facility, which is awful. Now, that can happen to people, and that's awful. But if I can, so for example, one of the things at some point will be, how can I help that person have a more comfortable life? Because there's some people doing it tough.
Yeah, there is.
However, some people think they're doing it
And
tough,
they're not.
but they're doing tap, tap,
I
taparoo.
was going to say there's actually people with financial problems, health problems,
Yep.
and there's a whole, and they're a small amount, and there's
Yep.
a small amount killing it, and there's this whole mid-socioeconomic people full of fucking excuses,
Excuses.
and their little things are not bad enough to stop them from getting to where you are today,
Correct.
or where I am today, because we've all been in much worse positions. So
Yeah.
a lot of victim mentality.
Victim mentality is alive and well in Australia,
Mm.
and all I would say to them is just stop it.
Okay. Now, any other words of wisdom you would give to the people tuning in to go? I mean, we've talked about age.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked, you've sold 7 from 9 down 7 to 2, gone back up. We've amended the strategy for you from like, I want this portfolio and this income. No, I actually want this dream of this penthouse in Main Beach and property in Sydney on the beach and have these 2 beautiful dwellings and some cash flow.
Yeah.
So it's changed, it's evolved.
Yeah.
And I think that's important is maybe don't be fixated. Like, you can have a plan. You need a plan. You need a route, but that can change too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You've
Things
got to.
can change.
Things change and life changes.
Mm.
And so to be able to be a little bit fluid there, don't be too stuck in your way. Don't be, again, don't stick in your lane too hard because otherwise you don't have room to grow.
All right, let's have a bit of fun.
Okay.
What do you want to ask me?
Oh, now she sits up.
Oh, look out.
Okay. What do I want to ask you? What would you tell your younger self? And by your younger self, your first memory of when maybe you were a little boy, what would you say to that little fella?
Oh, that little fella's got really young memories, like kindergarten memories, which is weird, like due to different circumstances and situations.
Okay.
So for that little boy, I'd say it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
So if it's not okay, it's not the end.
Yeah.
Everything will be okay in the end. Or everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. But I think going a little bit older, like, one, everything will be okay.
Okay.
And that people love you.
Mm.
It's easy in different circumstances to be fearful or scared or worried, I mean, Nan and Pop did a great job, Mum did a great job, but there was also lots of things that weren't as great. We struggled, we were hungry, we were cold. So everything will be okay in the end. Going a little bit older, I would have really, really, really focused on never stopping sport ever.
Never stopping sport.
Ever. Because if you lose it, if you don't use it, you lose it. And I was always the 6-pack, 8-pack, muscle, like quite fit and healthy, ran everywhere, rode everywhere, injuries, start drinking, partying, whatever. Once you stop using it, you do lose it. It's very hard. Physically, injuries, etc. For some people, you've got to work. I mean, you've got to work at it,
I reckon
right?
you can get it back.
You can. No, I'm
Yeah.
living proof that it comes back, right?
Yeah.
But it's much harder.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think sport is a big thing for kids and adults alike, for a sense
Mentally
of
as well.
community, mentally, physically, bit of fulfillment, bit of enjoyment, a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
So I'd say don't ever stop sport, even socially, ever. But also I would have told myself to grow up and actually focus a lot more than I did.
Focus.
Yeah, focus a lot more than I did. Knowing what I know now,
Yeah.
I think that, people going out, 18 years old and finish soccer and go to the pub together and get on the piss and socialise and all that sort of stuff, I don't, and I think this generation's getting better at it. Like schoolies last year, they were exercising and this.
I know, it was amazing.
We're watching trolleys of food and going to the gym. I think that there still is a terrible alcohol culture in society. And every now and then, sure, it's fine, relax, blow off the vent, sure. But I would have really spent more to tell myself to focus on what I was trying to achieve. And I talk about that 20, 40, 20 to everyone. 20 years of life, you're trying to figure out who you are, grow up, have fun. Then because of that, people spend about 40 years of their life slaving their guts out and being partially miserable.
Yeah.
I don't think
agree.
everyone enjoys their life. I think everyone struggles.
Yeah.
And it's because we spend money on dumb shit, instant gratification, and we get sidetracked from what we're trying to do. I would have really, really told myself to head down, bum up quicker, because I look at what I've achieved since I met Beck in 2012 to today. And had I done that from 20 to 32, I'd be done. I would have had family at 32, not 42. I would have been extremely financially comfortable at 32, not 42. I would have had more time to spend with friends, family, community, and give back at 32, not 42. So to think I could have achieved from 20 to 32, from what I've been able to do from 30 to 42, because that's effectively what I've done. If you take my last 12 years and look at it today, I could have done that from 20 to 32.
You're really?
Yeah, easily.
Wow.
Twice as big.
Okay.
Actually, I could have done it from 20
Well,
to
I still
28.
think what you've achieved is phenomenal. So,
But I think...
don't beat yourself up too much.
So in answer to that question, knowing what I know now,
Yep.
I would have been able to achieve what I did in probably half the time.
Right.
And been able to have more impact now.
Focus.
Focus.
Do you know my son used to say to me, he said, Mum, focus, focus, focus. And if I have a dog, I'm going to call it Focus.
Does he have a dog called Focus?
Nope, not yet, but I'm going to buy him one. No, just kidding.
Maybe that's
He'll
his
kill me.
birthday,
He'll kill
birthday
me.
present or Christmas gift.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah, go for it.
What's your biggest challenge as I sit in front of you today, whether that's business or personal? Actually, let's change that. What's the biggest challenge in each?
I'll give you both.
Yeah.
Personal is health.
Okay.
Personal is health. For example, on the weekend, I don't know if you're still online, I was partway through yesterday of the 2-day event. There's 550 couples logged on, 1,100 people.
It's huge.
I'm very committed. I think I went from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m., 7 p.m., 12 hours in the chair, all day, just me. On the Saturday. On the Sunday, we're around, 1 or 2 o'clock. I quickly tried to eat while somebody else was doing a Q&A. I didn't chew properly. I hoovered it. And
Naughty
it was
boy.
unhealthy food that the team got me, and I've been pretty healthy lately and lost like 15, 16 kilos.
Amazing.
And I hoovered a burger, and I have a seafood allergy. And it looked like I was having anaphylaxis. My throat was itchy. I was coughing. I started to choke. I drank 2 litres of water. Trying everything. I turned it on mute and excused myself. I thought I turned the camera off, but I was still on air. And my wife's ringing me. Beck's thinking I need an EpiPen, go to the hospital. She's watching her husband die on air. Michael was ringing me. The team come, and it was literally just, I just fucking ate too quickly, being a chubby bubby, right? So, because I was so hungry, I was fading away to a small block of flats. I hoovered this food, ran back in because the event was priority. I was just fat. I just ate too quick in that moment, right? Chew your food, Graham.
Chew your food.
But at the time, and the whole community, thankfully, to everyone who's listening that was online, was like, I'm going to do this. Everyone in the chat was like, help him, do this. Scull a can of Coke, growl like a bear. Everyone's like, there was that many things going on in the chat, but I'm like trying to contain myself and function.
Wow.
And then I still pushed on. I went, no, I'm right. Give me 2 minutes, composed myself, and pushed on for another 3 or 4 hours.
So it wasn't anaphylactic shock.
No.
It was
somebody bought me some Gaviscon, whatever. I just ate too quickly.
You ate too quickly.
I was coughing and spluttering. Anyway, been a chunky monkey. So everyone can have a rip on me in the comments here.
Okay, so the next time when you do something like that, what you're going to do is on camera, you're going to have something to eat a little and often.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. But so then when I say health is being very focused on health and a lot of tests, doing a lot more tests over the next 6 weeks as well, overseas. So at the moment, I've got myself to a really good position of 5 days a week is regimented exercise. Saunaring's been a big thing for me every night. That's helped me drastically because I was always hot and sweaty and couldn't sleep. And now I'm saunering every night and I'm cold all the time. I'm not hot.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It helps with my menopause, they reckon. But no, so saunering every night for 20 minutes, 30 minutes has stopped me from sweating and feeling it. I'm also sleeping like a baby. My skin feels better. So sauna's been a good one for me. But I'm sort of in that 5 days perfect, 2 days with my life events, etc. Whatever excuses I make are not perfect. I'm getting there. But I've really dedicated and committed my last 12 years of my life, 7 days a week, to what we teach, to our community, put myself and Beck in a distant second. That's changing now. We've got an amazing home gym and I've, training and support and medical. So that's my core focus. So for me right now, my hardest thing is health. That's the only thing that I find a challenge in. So when you ask the challenge. So for me, what I do day to day is not challenging anymore. I love it. You can blindfold me, you can gag me. I'll still get the information out. I'll still draw it blindfolded on a whiteboard. I'm doing it every day for myself, so I don't have to sell it. I tell it because I'm doing it every day.
Okay.
You know, I'm buying, selling, share
Yeah.
this. So I can do it blindfolded. So my biggest personal challenge right now would be health, not wealth. And that's my sole focus at the moment, as well as continuing
Great.
the wealth. But that's
Well, you know what? If you
automated,
don't
if
have
that
your health, you don't.
no point for the wealth.
Yeah.
So I've automated the wealth. Like I can do that naturally, organically, subconsciously. Health is the biggest challenge, which I'm well underway and enjoying because it's a
Good.
challenge and I like a challenge.
Yeah.
I have to be the best or I won't pick it up.
Yeah.
So watch this space. And there'll be some interesting things come out in infinity in the health and wellness space in the very, 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 very near future. So watch this space.
Hate the T's without the E's, you know.
Well, we've got infinity. We might have to have like infinite health and work. There'll be something come out around exactly what I've been able to do, not do, what worked. Because I'm a pretty busy person. Like, as far as my life, it's chaos.
Yeah.
So if I can nail this and maintain it and have longevity in it, I think it's something that people will be able to replicate.
Interesting.
So I want to share that.
Yeah.
If I can do it, you can do it.
Absolutely.
Wealth, cool. Now, if I can do it health, I'll share it. Not to commercialize it, just to help people, as I already do.
Yeah.
So biggest challenge personally, health. Biggest challenge commercially, business. I'm going to give you a couple.
Okay.
One, you get to a position when you're not thinking and acting in scarcity and you act in abundance, that everything you touch can turn to gold. You can get this fallacy of everything you touch turns to gold and you can do everything and everything wins. I can do this, I can do that. And I get thousands of pitches and hundreds of people want to engage with me on opportunities all the time.
Of course.
Because of what we do and how well we've done it and so long now. So there's one is to not get distracted because I can't do everything.
Correct.
So I do 2 to 3 things very, very fucking well. Anything else can stop you from doing those things well or be a distraction. But the number one challenge, because I could do a lot and help a lot more people, is people, is human capital.
Oh, really?
Hire slow, fire fast.
Totally agree with that.
Hire good human beings.
Yep.
I'm now going back to hiring the human, not the skill.
Yeah, good.
Because I can teach the skill. We've hired a lot of skill and they're not always good humans. And you can teach somebody the skill, the technical, and the accreditation. You cannot teach somebody to put their trolley back. And how you speak about me when I'm in a room should be exactly how you speak of me when I am not in the room.
Correct.
Because I am the same. And I will tell you to your face what I think of you. And I will help you.
Yeah.
Or not. I will tell you I don't want to engage with you and help you and not accept your business. So I think it's very important for people at home, your friends, your family, your colleagues, how they speak of you in front of you, they should absolutely speak the same of you when you're not in the room.
And how do you make that happen? Because people are great at gossiping.
They are.
And you don't know what they say behind your back.
Yeah, but I just publicly execute. So I'm going back to that. That's what built the brand and the culture and the business. We are very open. We lost our way. We lost our culture and not lost it, but it diminished. The shine came off it.
Okay.
Our culture diminished and we scaled and grew very astronomically.
Oh, yeah.
Like 4x, 5x, 10x, 20x, our business.
I've been there for part of it.
Yeah, it's wild. You've been on part of the journey. And when you do that, sometimes it's like, got a pulse? Yeah, when can you start? Oh, cool. You got no, like, and you don't sometimes take time to really get to know the human or to really check the skill. Both. You can check the skill but not the human. You fill the skill gap, bad human.
Bad human.
You can check the human, tick the human box, but then because the skill gap's lacking and you might not invest enough time and energy and resource into the skill gap, you got a good human but they don't have the skill. Now you got a service problem.
Right.
Or you could get a combination of the both. You could get somebody who pretends and looks like they're skilled, that's shithouse with no skill, that's fucking all wank, and they could be a shit human. And now you got a skillless shit individual. And that's really hard to manage.
People.
So, human capital, I call it capital because it's an investment.
It is.
If I'm to hire someone on $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year, and they come and go, that costs, if that's a $200,000 a year role, that can cost me $400,000.
Yeah.
And to outlay 400, you got to earn 800 before you pay tax to then spend 400.
Yeah.
As a, at the top tax bracket. So, very, very, very mindful, very recently and ongoing, but now calling it out. So be unacceptable behaviour. There'll be no more turning a blind eye because we're busy or we're big or any of that sort of stuff. So there's been a lot of changes recently. I've promoted a lot from within, not so much external. We have a lot of clients that have become staff.
I know, it's amazing.
We've also then said no to a lot of clients to be staff.
Okay.
Really, really, really got to get into the human capital. It is capital. It's an investment in people.
It's a psychology.
You hire somebody, you're investing into their spouse, their children, their pets, their lifestyle choices. So making and in the process of about to make a very, very substantial shift culturally in the organisation.
Wow.
From Beck and I. So that will be interesting for people to watch.
Yeah.
I think most people will be like, whoa. I think
good?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Because that investment into making such rapid, shocking cultural change will filter through the community.
Right.
And I know most people will love it and embrace it.
And those that don't?
Those that don't, see ya. Because at the end of the day, not my vibe, not my tribe.
Yeah, I agree.
And people trust and invest in Beck and I, their livelihoods. And if that person that I entrust to serve you is not an extension of me that you invested in, you're not getting what you invested in.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Therefore, most of our team will walk, talk, act and think like me or Beck.
And
from their
that's
heart
important.
and
That's
from their
important.
head.
Yeah.
And if that's not clear, they won't be here. And they're not going to know that until they hear this and I get back from overseas and then this rapid shift occurs. But hi, hope you watch this. And I think that's important for any person in life and business. Like you would know, Beck and I have a rating system for the people in our inner circle. As soon as your score diminishes, you're out of my circle.
Yeah,
Now-
you are extremely loyal. And I think, would I be right in saying loyalty is probably, it's almost like your love language?
It is, yeah. Not people pleasing, but I need to be needed. I need a lot of therapy. Therapist tells me that you need to be needed. You're not a people pleaser.
No, but I think for you as well.
Loyalty is a big thing.
Loyalty is a big thing.
Yeah, I've had staff that have been single mothers that were doing multiple jobs instead of just this job, and I've paid them very big severances so they could go off and run that dream business and have a crack. I'm talking like, here's 3 months' pay. I want you to go and be your best you and have a crack at this business. And they cry and thank you, and you give them faith in his CEO again, not just a brand. But also I could have been, hey, you're in breach of your employment contract. You're running a business in conflict with our business. Fuck off, and I could sue them and get an injunction. I've gone the human way. I've had other staff members that have said, hey, yeah, we're going to have a crack at this. If it doesn't work, I am who I am. I'm going to pay you a 6-month severance.
Right.
If it ever doesn't work out, I'll give you a 6-month severance because that's who I am and I sleep at night.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what you say about me when I'm not in the room because I sleep really well at night.
Now.
And always. I always sleep really well. Now,
that's good.
maybe 10, 20 years ago I was a shit bloke and it's a work in progress every day, but my biggest commercial challenge is human capital, human beings. And I call it human capital because capital is something that you invest in and expend time, energy, not just financial capital, human capital.
Yeah.
I think it's important to understand that your peers are your biggest capital. So that's my biggest struggle right now. We could be 100 times bigger. We get people offering to buy us all the time.
Wow.
People almost forcing us to sell to them. And it's like, fuck off, right? Because it'll change. We can do this globally. You know, we're in multiple dialogues in multiple places around the world. Yeah, we're only just getting started.
I know, that's what's so phenomenal.
Those two things I told you commercially, I can't do everything.
No.
I can't do every opportunity in every country or even here.
But that's why human capital is so important.
And that's why the human capital struggles. So there's a really, really substantial investment and energy and direction shift in our internal part, our team member culture, to do better for our community client culture. And that will be an interesting shift.
For most.
Well, there'll be tears, tiaras, tantrums and hair extensions flying and laughs.
Yep.
There'll be tears. There'll be giggles.
Yep.
There'll be people that will absolutely flourish, grow and shine. And there'll be some clients that get their nose out of joint and think, oh, well, that person should be this person, or why did you put them there? Everyone has an opinion. They're like backsides. Sit from them and shit from them.
Yep.
If I move someone in my organisation...
It's your organisation. Hello.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a reflection of what I need for my clients, because without my clients, there is no organisation.
Correct.
So, yeah, that's pretty deep. But
I wanted to ask you one last thing. How important is somebody's energy?
Ugh. It's more important than their skill. It's more important than what they say or do. You exchange energy with people 24/7.
Yep.
When I do a live room or a computer event or whatever, and if that energy shit, you end up shit. You suck it in. I mean, you've watched me do things before. I've tried to help people. I spent 30, 40 minutes engaging with someone who's, woe is me, this is this, blah, blah. We had a poor lady on the weekend that bought a house in Fear 2 hours from where her work is, and she drives 2 hours to work for a job to earn $60,000 a year and then 2 hours home. And then when I got to the crux of it, she's devastated that she's a mature lady in her 60s, and she can only pay a house off in 13 years that she bought last year, not 30. And I'm like, you're 60, you're going to pay it off at 90. I can do it when you're 73. Maybe you get to 70, then retire. I can do it quicker. She was devastated that we could save her $345,000.
What do you mean she was devastated?
Devastated. She was so disheartened and despondent. She wrote in there, I'm despondent, I'm devastated. I wanted to do it in 5 years when I'm 65.
Oh, for God's sake. Seriously?
Yeah. So I actually called her out. And
Whoever you are, stop it.
I know. So I called her out and brought her live, and I spent probably 20 minutes with her and asked her about life, and do things always go wrong, and is she always sad, is she always upset. Been around for a long time. Why'd you buy a player? And then she said, the place needs renovating, it's shit, I bought the wrong house. Like, everything was terrible
Victim.
and catastrophic.
Yep.
And then I said, well, how do you go with the commute? She's like, oh, I don't. I said, what do you mean? And there was 1,100 people to hear this on the weekend. She said, oh, I pay my friend to stay at my girlfriend's house all week that's 20 minutes from work. And I kind of stopped at that point. I'm like, I don't know how the fuck to help this lady.
You can't.
You can't help someone that won't help themselves. Why would
Can't.
you buy something? And then she did exchange with me that she suffered terrible like anxiety, agoraphobia, maybe like being around a lot of people, and she worked in the city, and she couldn't handle living in the city or near the city. And I'm like, yeah, but you bought fucking 2 hours away. The house is no good. It needs fixing. And then every single night, Monday to Friday, you spend at your girlfriend's place,
house.
20 minutes from the city anyway. Why don't you just get a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment half an hour out of the city? Do you know, like, terrible. And she said, I've made a terrible decision. I'm like, okay. So it's really, really difficult to help everybody. You can't help everyone.
Some people, dare I say...
But what was your core question on that? Sorry, because I got sidetracked.
Energy.
Energy. That energy, sorry, yeah. You can't help everybody, and sometimes you need to cut. Because the energy can be exhausting, draining. If anyone's got friends or family, I know I'm a fucking pest. Like when I do a big event, I am exhausting to be around because Beck will spend I'm like, because I took on 1,100 people's energy.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
So I need a day to myself after that, and then I'll work 30 days straight again.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm exhausting for Beck because on the Monday after a huge weekend with I'm exhausted and I'm down. She spends her time trying to stabilize me and bring me up because of all the energy I've experienced. And then on Tuesday, I'm like, let's go do this. And she's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And she's now here and I'm back here.
Yeah.
Right?
That
so
balance.
energy is so, I'm not into woo-woo, wah-wah, but
It's just a fact.
every interaction you have with people, you're exchanging energy.
Correct.
It's like the old story. I smile. See? You smile.
Correct.
I'm anxious. You're anxious for me. So
Now I'll keep smiling just to piss you off.
yeah, I know, that's fine. But it's one of those things. Energy is so important, and that's a big part of the shift that I want to have in this organisation now. That impact, legacy, purpose. You know, what are we achieving? How are we doing it? But at scale, I need that to have a deeper DNA than what we've built. And most people will tell you what we've built is amazing.
It is.
Fucking not good enough for Beck and I.
Excellent.
Not good enough.
Can't wait.
And
to
that's
see where we go
interesting
next.
because you can have 1,000 raving cult-like fans, and the 2 that are pissed off really, really affect me. Now, when I audit them, they usually didn't do the work. They joined a gym and ate like an arsehole and didn't turn up. But those 2 still affect me greatly. Not as much now as they used to, but they infect their energy, right? So I'm really looking to almost intravenously feed mine and Beck's DNA, passion, culture, and expectation and belief into our team to let that flow.
And
that means there will be
a big
substantial change.
Yeah.
Mostly for the better for the client and the community, but some people won't like that. And that's okay.
That's fine.
I'm holding them back from being their best at their next job at fucking XYZ Financial.
Yeah.
Sweet. Go be amazing. Go flourish. Just don't copy me.
Just copy me and you're in trouble.
Yeah.
I'd never copy you. I'd just follow you.
You wouldn't want to copy me. It's too
No, I
fucking
want to
convoluted.
I want to follow you. I just follow you to the penthouse. It's all good.
I'll see you there.
All right.
Any other questions?
Nope.
All right, we're gonna do a part 2 of this soon.
Are we?
Yeah,
Okay.
because there's a bit of an evolution now of selling down some assets, and we want to talk to people and go, did he fuck you over? Did you lose money?
Yeah, right.
Did you make money? How much money
People
did
are
you make?
such skeptics,
When
aren't
did you
they?
make the money?
Yeah.
So I think, in fairness to the community, we should be transparent and do a part 2.
Okay.
Because over the next 12 months, we're liquidating some assets. There's going to be a cost base that you've purchased for. There's going to be a sale. There's going to be a profit or a loss. Let's fucking talk about it.
And there'll be some skeptics out there that say, "Oh, you're never going to get into the
So all the
penthouse."
glitters is not gold. Well, this is going to be really fucking sparkly.
Yeah.
And in just a matter of years, not 10 years, not 20 years,
next year.
2-3 years, there's going to be some pretty interesting results here that we're going to share in a part 2.
Great.
Watch this space. Beck and I appreciate you. Thank you
really
for
appreciate you.
sharing again. And I'm sure people will come and stalk you and see Making Money Matter and the Gold Lady and get some tickets to the Gold Conference if you want to learn about real assets. That's coming up shortly.
Do you know what I often say to people? Save in gold, buy property.
Well, you've been doing that.
Because that's what I've been doing. And that's
the
what
gold, gone up in value, created a deposit, gone into property.
Yep.
More leverage, got more
That's
gold.
what people need to do.
Yeah.
You know, they need to understand gold will beat inflation every single time, and your paper is going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Real assets will hold their value. Gold is money, everything else is credit.
Love it.
So save in gold, buy property. That's
Well
my
done.
2 things.
Very bloody proud of you.
Thank you,
You should
sir.
be very proud of yourself, and stay tuned for part 2.